Hello everyone, I hope you're doing fine. My name is Skyline. That goof you saw earlier, that was just you dreaming. Don't worry about it. So anyway, welcome to the first daily. I'm supposed to be doing these daily. We'll see if it happens. But today, we're going to be doing more Apex Grand Finals matches between Runaway and Lunatic High. It was such a good match. We're going to do them all at some point. So today we have Hollywood. And I guess we'll just get into the game, shall we? I think that sounds like a good idea. So here we go. So Runaway is starting out on defense here. And by the way, I'll be taking questions afterwards, guys, so I'm not going to be reading the chat too much. So Runaway, starting on defense. And this is a little bit of an interesting composition we're seeing from them. And by interesting, I mean I don't really like it very much. Because, well, if we take a look at their composition, we have triple tank. Pretty interesting. That's something we didn't actually see too much of going into this tournament, into these finals, but we are seeing one of the few instances where triple tank is run, and they're running the normal thing, you know, the Zarya, Reinhardt, Roadhog, all good, great, Anna, nice, Lucio, all super. That's how you're supposed to run it. But Stitch here is on Tracer, which is very strange, to say the least, because generally with triple tank you can afford to run those strong backline heroes. In fact, you have to run those strong backline heroes to really do much of anything. Especially we're going to see here on Hollywood as we sort of progress. I think that this Tracer pick combined with the triple tank might have been a little bit weak. So we will see as we progress. Lunatic High, they're going to be running a standard dive composition. That's what they run. That's what they've always run. And, you know, it works. It's good. Zumba on Torbjorn, just kidding. It's D.Va, of course. And so they also, if we will just skip ahead there, they are running, they shadowed the triple support real quick, but this was a mistake. And it cost them about 3 seconds. A weird mistake, but they aren't running a Lucio, in fact. They're just going to come up here, slow roll. Don't worry about it. I'm not sure if they intended to run a Lucio or if it was just, you know, they messed it up. They messed up their picks, and so they wanted to get out of there as fast as possible. But if we look here, so this is kind of the setup of Hollywood that we have coming up here. It's 20 seconds in, a little bit slow on Lunatic High as far as their progression has gone, their execution. This should usually be more around 15 seconds getting up here, especially when you just are given infinity ground like this. But if we take a look at the map, we have to come into the game here because otherwise it just kicks me out. So we need to, I couldn't have this prepared beforehand, unfortunately. But if we go into Hollywood, like we do, Hollywood is a map that you pretty much have two options on defense. And so we see all of this nice area of the map. All right. And now the defenders can either play really far up. Whoops. The defenders can either play really far up, like up here, and try to deny access to this high ground, try to deny access to this back alley area back here. Or the only other alternative, because if you look at where our heroes are here on Runaway, I mean, I guess they're not our heroes, right? Both of these teams are heroes. But Runaway is just kind of giving up everything. They're clustered here on the point. Actually, Cox a little bit far up on Anna. But because they've given all this up, we see that, you know, freely take the high ground, freely take this back alley. That's a lot of stuff. That's pretty oppressive. So the defenders have to essentially, and up here can be a bit scary as a defender as well, defending back here because of a leap from Winston or something. So normally you see the defenders sort of hunker down in this back area. And this is normally where something like a Torbjorn, a Soldier, some single support with a Torbjorn, Soldier, some like heavy duty firepower goes through to actually hold this. And without having any of that, they're just going to kind of crumble. And meanwhile, Lunatic High doing exactly what they need to do. So just checking out the map real quick. And you see Miro is back here, and I think he's like 2 pixels or so you can see. But this is Miro on Winston, just kind of clearing this area out to make sure that there's no sort of flanky, crazy stuff going on. But we will resume the game now, and there we go. He did find Stitch, so Stitch can't go back into this alley. Nicely cleared by Miro. So we have rotation. I know this was Lunatic High just a second ago, but this is now Runaway. They climbed back up, try to take the high ground. The issue with this, though, is, well, I mean, it's not really an issue, but just the result of climbing up the stairs and trying to go up here is that you don't ever truly catch the other team if they rotate properly. Instead, they just come down here onto the low ground. And now, Runaway is under pressure. 4 people on the point. They need to react within a few seconds. This is the downside of defending like this, and that's okay if you can react quickly. But if you have a composition like this, it might not be as easy, right? Haksal is playing Roadhog, which I think is a bit strange to begin with. Normally, he wasn't playing it too much. Normally, he's so good on Genji, having that high ground sort of stuff, that the high ground mobility, being able to do the vertical thing is quite good on Hollywood. But as Roadhog, this is a little bit of a bind because we have to react so quickly. He has one hook, and if he misses the hook, oh no, that's it. The hook's gone for 8 seconds, and they don't have 8 seconds, so they have to come down here now. And Miro jumps up, does some harassment rather. But as this fight progresses, you're gonna see that just no one on Lunatic High really dies. No one really dies. Runaway is in a theoretically okay position, but they just don't have quite the firepower to deal with it. They have a lot of people who were running around for a long time, but they didn't have they had all these tanks. They couldn't quite get anything done. They couldn't get onto. Look at Toby's on Zenyatta. You can't see it because he's respawning there. Oh, he just swapped. He was on Zenyatta. So Lunatic High had the very vulnerable Zenyatta, very vulnerable backline that entire time. But Runaway, Stitch could have theoretically done it, but he couldn't actually because Stitch was forced to be the main DPS. Stitch was forced to actually go and kill people, kill tanks and stuff, and that's not what Tracer is really super good for. So gates open up. Haksal still on the Roadhog. He should be swapping off now. That's another problem with not having anyone with vertical mobility going into this next point. That, well, you need it. You need a Genji. You need something like that on this area. So Lunatic High, by the way, just gonna blow. They're gonna blow their Nano Blade. They really want to get through here. Bumper releases the Zarya ultimate. Obviously, didn't get too much. That was a panic Zarya ultimate. So that's going to be a bit of a thorn in their side coming up. Haksal decides to stay on the Roadhog, which is a bit concerning because we see no vertical mobility here. Very scary compared to Miro and Who Are You? And so it's going to be a little bit difficult for Runaway to take control of much. Kaiser has his ultimate. He needs to land this. That's it. Lunatic High has nothing really, except for the advantage of just having a better composition here. So if Kaiser can find the Earth Shatter, well, he kind of has to. He has no choice. The camera's now on Eska. Not really the juicy part of the fight. He will find Cox here, try to do something to him. The aim is a little bit wiggly-waggly, but he does get a shield, so that's pretty hard. You see, Kaiser did use his ultimate already. We couldn't see what happened with the ultimate. All we see is it maybe got Zumba. It definitely, though, got Toby, because Toby just goes down instantly. So we know that at least Kaiser got a double ultimate, including their Lucio, which is good enough, really. And being the god that Kaiser is, he managed to pull through in the fight that they really needed him, because I think if that shatter got blocked, that was pretty much it. Or if it got dodged in any way, Runaway wasn't going to be able to take that fight. So now he gave Haksal a chance to switch off to Genji. He swapped this off the last time he died on Roadhog. I don't think he ever actually got his Roadhog ultimate up, which is what he wanted. So now Runaway is looking a lot better. They have Haksal to be able to deal with the rooftops. And Runaway, oh, look at that. It was so close. I remember that happening. People were thinking it was a bug or something. And the barrier from Runner has been having pretty questionable barriers. You can see exactly how much these barriers have an effect. Okay, so look at so it's gonna fade, right? The barrier is gonna fade, but see if there's any additional damage done beyond the fade. It doesn't look like there's pretty much any. Yeah, it looked like it just faded completely naturally, essentially. So the barrier didn't do too much there, and it should have left an opening for Lunatic High, but here's where Kaiser is so good. I know I'm just fanboying on Kaiser right now, but it's not actually. It's because he just played so well in this game. Now, you can't see the camera. The camera's not on him at all. But if we look, here we go. We're going to have the mediocre sound barrier popped here, and this is very strange, right? Lunatic High normally is like, okay, they pop the barrier. That's fine. We'll just let him have it. But Kaiser takes advantage of this, and you can't see him on the screen, but he pushes forward, and we can kind of see him in our mind's eye on the kill feed. He pushes into the supports, and he kills Ru Jae-hong and Toby by himself. I don't think that there's anyone helping him. I didn't see it at all, even with my microscopic analysis, you know, pausing it over and over again. I didn't see anyone help Kaiser out there. And without having any supports, even though Lunatic High, who are you, got the blade before Haksal, he got kills. Eska was able to get kills as well. They don't have the pushing power to finish it off. And that really, that was sick by Haksal. But what I mean by that is, who are you is pushing it up, and he actually has to retreat to his supports because the supports both died. And now we get to see that beautiful Haksal. Whoop, right click, whoop, melee. Jeez, so good. So good. Although, who are you got the blade before he did earlier, so it's not really, it's still 1-1 as far as the Genji players are concerned. But that's going to allow Runaway to get through here pretty easily. Run away with the fight, if you will. And now we're going to 2 minutes left. Haksal still has blade. He held it onto it for for a little while there. I think that Kaiser and Haksal specifically have some of the best ultimate management I've ever really seen from many players at all. They're very, very patient with their ultimates. They know when to use them and when not to most of the time. Sometimes Kaiser holds his for a little bit too long. But it looks like Lunatic High trying to set up a little bit. They're definitely not going to win this. They don't have the barrier, and Runaway knows this, so they just pop their Nano Blade. Haksal goes Maniac, and Lunatic High, they can't do too much. There really isn't. I mean, there really isn't too much that they could do there because Toby already used his barrier earlier, and that's something that I think, if we actually want to talk about for a second, when your opponent uses the barrier, the Lucio barrier in this case, because right now that's the main support ultimate that you look at when you're talking about defensive support ultimates. There's Zenyatta too, but people don't really run Zenyatta very much anymore on most maps. But in this case, they have a Lucio, they use the barrier, and so it's good to hold ultimates, but after they use the barrier, you don't want them to get another barrier up by the time you eventually use your ultimate. So here Runaway said, okay, Toby, use sound barrier. It's been a little while. We don't want him to get it up again before we are able to get value out of our Nano Blade or out of our blade in general. So this next fight, they just had Haksal go kill everybody. Was it a waste? Yeah, it wasn't as good as it normally would have been on defense, but considering the fact that it didn't get barriered, that's pretty good. And they also know that they have they have Earth Shatter coming into this. They have Graviton Surge coming into this. So they're still not looking very weak at all. So it's pretty much up to either Bumper or Kaiser now. They have to hit something, preferably not stack it up. Bumper comes out. He thinks he's like, all right, I'm going to go get 6, and oh no. Where is everybody? I think that's what happened to Bumper here. He pops his barrier, doesn't get too much out of it, and winds up just sort of going forward. I think that he was mistaking the flow of the fight. I think that Bumper thought the fight was, I mean, we're going to see that. We're going to go back to that in a second, but I think the Bumper thought that fight was already kind of further along than it actually was. But we get to see here this nice, oh, that's got to feel bad. That's got to feel bad if you're Who Are You. That was not even his fault. That wasn't his fault at all. That was just Kaiser being Kaiser. This was one of the best games that Kaiser played this set, by the way. If not the best, I think. I think that this was probably Kaiser's best game. Normally, I'm not like, oh man, Kaiser's amazing every game, but this game he was really sick. Anyway, 35 seconds left. They still have everything, by the way. This is what I'm talking about with this patience. Look, they kept it. They kept it. Awesome. Runner has barrier, although, you know, it's a Runner barrier. I really love Runner as a player, as a guy. He's put out some great stuff. His philosophy really jives with me pretty well, but the barriers in this series, I don't know. I don't know about them very much. All right, this is the last fight, though. Lunatic High has to win this. Runaway kind of is their fight to lose. We see the barrier come out from Runner. Doesn't get too much. And so Bumper launches the ultimate at a Ru Jae-hong. with only 50% ultimate, with only 50% health rather. He didn't know how much health that this player had. And I don't think that this was necessarily bad. I can totally understand the decision making. Ryu Jae-hung is freaking awesome. I mean, killing him early on in the fight is probably going to let you win by itself. He didn't know that he was only at 50% health. I think that this is a fair ultimate. It's not too bad. But at the same time, there is an argument where maybe be a little bit more enterprising with it, I think. So, who are you? This is his chance to shine, to actually wipe the team fight. He has the Nano Blade because Ryu Jae-hung got it off while he was inside of the Graviton, and he performs spectacularly. Stitch manages to get a little bit out of him. Hacksaw doesn't use it. He doesn't use the blade. Well, there was no support up. That's why. If you look at when he finally got it, there we go. He gets the blade, but he's only at 37 health. And can't do too much with that. Runner died earlier, so there's no healing or anything like that. It was really Kaiser. As much as I've been saying Kaiser has been so good, Kaiser didn't actually use his ultimate when he had it the entire time. And so, with that, they basically take the fight. Runaway, as good as they have been with ultimates this entire match, well, this entire series even. Here they scramble it up a bit. Kaiser launches an ultimate. They really try to get this in desperation. Unfortunately, Zarya still had the shield. They go through. Eska lands some shots. I know some people will be cheeky and be like, oh, you could never expect Eska to land some shots, but he does. And so we're going to this next phase, and I actually want to, oh, look at that, Runner dies again as well. So let's actually look at that section of this map of Hollywood as we, oh, look, as we have this beautiful scene of the streets phase. Here's what I'm talking about, how important vertical mobility is in this phase, but everyone knows that anyway. That's a bit obvious. So let's go into this next section. This fight that happens here is really confusing, I think, in a lot of ways, because it's always crazy. There's always like Genjis flying around, people pushing up, people diving onto the supports who are back here, somebody flanking around here. This is one of the craziest areas of fighting in the entire game of Overwatch in any map. But this generally turns into the attackers pushing up, and the key here is being able to get someone, if you are running the soldier or something, be able to control this area, this back area, these stairs. Not only is this a really great place for your supports to hide out and kind of chill and be nice and be safe, but this is also the area where your soldier, your whatever hero you want, can come up here. Even your Ana, if you will, if you really want, can come up here and do some damage. Once you have that key DPS hero up here, that's pretty much it. That's pretty much it for this. So you're going to see here Lunatic High doing the very standard thing of trying to control this area. And Runaway is going to try to deny it. Meanwhile, you have some of this stuff going on, but we will we'll see how that happens. As we come up here, start the VOD, back up. Lunatic High, of course, has control of the point. Runaway didn't have anyone in the short spawn, so at least they have that going for them. They're going to come up. Nobody has any ultimates, so this is going to be a straight up brawl. Probably very confusing, like I said, because this is the area. Nice denial by Who Are You. He was up there denying anybody from, Stitch specifically, I guess, from getting up there. Lunatic High actually doing a good job denying Stitch in general. But here's the fight. Dives are happening. People are jumping around. It's cool. And so notice if the camera can get there one more time. All right, there we go. This is what I was talking about. Runaway, kind of. The mobile heroes kind of staying in this area, denying too much of this good cover to Lunatic High. They're trying to continue to push them back in that direction. They don't want to let them get around this bend because that can be a little bit troublesome. But the fight's going on. And so, sick reflect. Who Are You had a pretty good game this game as well. Not the best game. I don't think it was his best game of the entire set, but it was one of the better games that he played of the entire set. So, Lunatic High did a good job of just pushing up here. It's a very attacker-sided, this particular section of the map. So, Runaway, the fact that Runaway didn't lose any members is good enough. And Lunatic High, of course, just pushing through. This is where the defense really starts on this last segment of Hollywood. as they push up. Stitch off camera somewhere back here, like one-clipped Ryu Hong, which is really sick. So because of that, Lunatic High has to get back, and that was, you know, Stitch is probably the biggest play of that Stitch had this entire game. Was, I think it was a one clip. It wasn't on camera. That's how it looked with the health bar, one clipping Ryu Hong like that, because it forced Lunatic High to get back, and now they just have one more fight. Who Are You almost has his blade. He needs to get it. Let's see if he can get it before Haxel, or if Haxel can get it early. Oh, by the way, another barrier that by Runner that Lunatic High just kind of ran away from. So Who Are You does get the blade first. He uses the with the nano as well. He manages to get the assist on Haxel, kills Runner by himself, and also Zumba blows the Zarya ultimate as well. Whether this was necessary, they might have. I don't know. If you look at it, what did they actually get with the Zarya ult? That's a good question. Well, looks like just because yeah, these guys weren't in the ultimate, so they only got Kaiser, and he was gonna die anyway. So this by Zumba might have, if he had held that, they might have actually full taken Hollywood here, but we'll see, because now Haxel almost has a blade. Bumper came in, used the Graviton surge. This is almost impossible to push through. I think Lunatic High, once they used that Graviton, that was pretty much it. Who Are You gets a woo, sick pickup on Haxel. Let's get an instant replay of that. Haxel pops the blade, comes up, and nope. 120 health burst from Who Are You. Took him out, but unfortunately, that's not enough because, only two players. Defense favored at that point, and they had everything. So that was a pretty sick round, very close. Lunatic High almost took it, but not quite. And just really, I think that I don't want to. I'm not gonna harp on this forever because it's a constant problem. But Runner's barriers were kind of but Runaway just doing a great job of managing their ultimates. Lunatic High, though, finding openings. Whenever Runaway slipped even a little bit, Lunatic High just went in there, especially Who Are You, great at finding openings. And Ryu Hong really just the rock of the team as well. Miro, additionally, especially on that Winston. So let's go into this next section. We have a Torbjorn. Here he is. He's building a building. That's what he's doing. Or he already did build the building. He built it right there. And so I don't like the. I think that this turret is very risky. Rather, I'm not going to say I don't necessarily like, but it's very risky. You build a turret here, and it's for the ultimate charge, obviously. But think about how long it takes to build a turret. About 5 seconds, give or take 4 seconds. I don't know the exact number. What if that doesn't get anything? What if Runaway is very known for running these very mobile, fast compositions. What if Runaway just goes through, D.Va can eat the bullets, kills the turret, doesn't even have to kill the turret, just run past the turret even if you want to, and just dives in. Suddenly Torbjorn doesn't have a turret anymore. So, let's see if Runaway actually manages to pull that off. They are taken completely by surprise. I don't think that they remotely in 1,000 years thought that there would be a Torbjorn turret here. And you can tell by the reaction, they're like, Kaiser's like, guys, there's a turret, and they're like, forget about it. Nah, guys, I gotta take care of it. And so they get 26%, 25% on their Torbjorn for really nothing. And Runaway was not actually able to take advantage of that turret placement. I do think it's very risky. And Runaway, if they had been prepared for the Torbjorn, would have been able to take advantage of it, indeed. But they will come around. I haven't mentioned. So, okay, this is what I was talking about, by the way. You have these tanks, triple tanks rather, and here they're running the support Torb and they're running the soldiers, so they can just sit back here and be really beefy and just bunker up in sort of this bastion of a defense. Not the hero, just the normal meaning of the word. By the way, all right, moving on. Never mind about that. So, Runaway, not quite prepared for this. Although, like I said, I don't think that they're really ready for the Torbjorn necessarily. But there is a soldier. They're pushed back kind of far here. This is not looking too good for Lunatic High. Remember, I was saying that they maybe should have been over there. And so they're a little bit clustered. Eska needs to find a way out. Because when they're over there, I can't like tilt the camera, unfortunately, but when they're over there, the soldier has a little bit more breathing room here. Pretty much the only way that Eska can get out and land some bullets is up here. And Haksal needs to be ready for that. He knows it. So there we go, climbs up. D.Va jumps down, in fact, leaving Eska by himself, and Haksal does a really good job of seeing that opening, knowing that a soldier had to go up there. But now coming in here, trying to kill the Torbjorn with the level 1 turret, letting Zumba smoke you like that, did lead to Runaway taking that in the end. And so notice that nano boost already. The Lunatic High is abusing the fact that Ryo Jae-hong is so good, because normally this would be super risky. This would be like, this would be terrifying for me, where you only have the one Ana on your team composition in Hollywood, which is one of the more diveable maps. All Runaway, all Haksal has to do is just come and be like, and kill you, because he's Haksal, and then you're dead. You have no Ana. You're just that's pretty much the point. But Lunatic High is saying, hey, Ryo Jae-hong is a god. He's not gonna die. We have faith in that. If he dies, then we're all gonna die anyway. So just running the solo Ana and the fact that he's alone means he's gonna have an Ana boost every fight. So he will be using it every fight, straight up. And by the way, this is crucial. I maybe before you were like, oh, Sky, well, who cares about 25% ult on a Torbjorn? This is why it matters. He wouldn't have had his ultimate this fight. If Toby wouldn't have had his ultimate this fight, if Runaway had been able to take care of that turret, that farming turret earlier, more efficiently. So they will be running into a Torbjorn ultimate. Nice hook on the Reinhardt, but the Zumba is playing Zarya, so that's not going to be a big deal. And Zumba chooses to use the Graviton. They pop the Torbjorn ultimate as well, but Runaway does a pretty good job of mitigating this. They do pop the barrier on Runner. They go through, but because the Torbjorn ultimate was just so strong, I mean, it was really valiant by Runaway trying to push through that. You saw it was close, but everyone was just so low as a result of pushing through the turret that Eska got the nano boost and just killed everybody. They burned everything though. Ryo Jae-hong, by the way, that's 2 nano boosts in 2 fights. Who Are You goes a little bit crazy. Goes a little bit crazy on D.Va. I don't really know how to explain that, besides the fact that he was just looking for blood. I guess Runner has just been dying all game, and so Who Are You was just used to going and killing Runner. He just saw Runner, his eyes got all bloodshot. He was like, oh, it's Runner, I'm gonna go kill him. He forgot he's not Genji. So without a D.Va, there's there isn't that peel that they really need here on Lunatic High. 5v6, and they get taken out pretty handily. Whoa, see you later, Reinhardt. All right. And now Kaiser is going to get his ultimate. He's going to want to try to hold it for as long as possible here. He doesn't want to use it on these staggering players. But it looks like Eska got out alive. And there's a D.Va on the point. Miro swapped to Winston, so he'll be coming back soon as well. Ooh, that's an interesting nano boost there. Did let him 2-hit the soldier, so that was pretty cool. And so I think Kaiser here just decides, screw it, we want the point. We don't want to deal with this. Runner pops the barrier. Runner, stop! Stop popping the barrier. That's not going to get anything. But they will take the point now, with only 30 seconds left. So it was a bit of a brutal take, but they finally got it on Runaway. Lunatic High did a great job of holding on there at the end. They got out Kaiser's ultimate. They got out Runner's ultimate, even though they shouldn't have. And so with that, they're looking a lot better going into this next part. What if Kaiser still had his Earth Shatter? What if Runner still had the barrier? I'm not saying that Kaiser should have the Earth Shatter. It was pretty fair to be like, oh, there's 4 people there. We need to take this point now. And but imagine that. Imagine going to this with barrier and Shatter and now Haksal's Blade. Lunatic High would be pretty much dunzos here. So great job by them managing to stay alive, especially by Eska. He actually stayed alive that entire time. But here we go. Zumba pops the ult a little bit early. So on Zarya, you want to wait. Your ultimate's good like in the middle of the fight, because if you pop it too early, if you initiate with it without some sort of crazy master plan where you're going to wombo them, then the Reinhardt just puts up the shield, and that's it. You can't get through that. That's 200 health. So we can see that here. I'll rewind it 5 more seconds. Zumba pops it, and it's not a big deal. Not a big deal. Kaiser just puts up the shield, right clicks, no problem. Stitch, very nice helix, by the way. And Who Are You? Who Are You? I don't think was expecting that. He probably pressed the reflect like 1 second too late. So, nano boosting Lucio. That was definitely supposed to go on Miro. Ryu Jae-hong made a mistake. He's mortal. Oh, man. But Haksal, he has a blade. Like I said, very smart. And this is a big part. I'm going to attribute a big part of Runaway's success throughout the tournament. Not only do they have pretty, good individual players, but probably their main strength, something I don't see a lot of teams doing, is just the fact that they're so good with their ultimates. They're so good. Haksal goes like 2 or 3 fights not using his ultimate because he just doesn't have to. Kaiser does the same thing. Although, like I said, Kaiser sometimes throughout... There were a few times throughout the series that Kaiser held his ultimate for too long. But next fight, Toby does have the barrier. But it's up. I think both Kaiser and Haksal are going to have to use their fight for their ultimates for here. By the way, ooh, sick. Gets 3. Even through... Actually, the Earthshatter hit Toby, so he didn't even get a chance to use the barrier. I think Haksal using the blade there was probably not necessary, but not perfect communication, obviously. They're still going to take this because they still have Stitch with the visor. Bumper can even ult people through the door. So even with a barrier, the question is here, does Toby want to use the barrier? That's the big question. Should he use the barrier? Do you think that they can possibly win with it? I think it's a toss-up. I think it's a 50-50. Toby decides to use it. And despite that, though, like I said, Stitch has the visor on the high ground. Does quite a bit. Good pressure, though, by Lunatic trying to stop him. That was really valiant there by Miro and Zumba. But still, it just takes too long to chase him down. He finally gets out. And so the cart gets to the end. Runaway with 2 minutes left. Almost at the end. But this is going to be pretty close. It depends on how they can do this phase. Haksal and Kaiser. So those little staggers at the end here. By the way. Yeah, like taking out their Miro, taking out Ryu Jae-hong, Lucio as well. That's going to result in Kaiser and Haksal having their ultimate up again. That was really fast, right? And Cox gets the nano boost. I think it was 2 fights that since he's had it. But going in, it's really going to be about who are you versus Haksal, who can get the better blade. If Kaiser can get a sick Earthshatter here, that's really good too. Because Lunatic High doesn't have too much in the way of really big ultimates besides Who Are You. So unless Who Are You goes full God mode, or Miro just like kills everyone with his ultimate, then they shouldn't be able to win the fight. And yet they do. And so I said that one of the best parts of Runaway is that they use their ultimates so well, so effectively. And this is a good example. They just don't use it. They still have 1:13 left on the clock. This is part of clock management as well. They still have 1:13 left on the clock. And so they know, hey, we don't need to use it. Haksal was like, nah. Kaiser's like, nah. Cox said no. Someone said no. And so Runaway didn't use any ultimates there. They're going to go into this next fight just splendidly. Lunatic High, a little bit too aggressive. When you're in this back foot, remember, oh, that was an unfortunate time for the camera to move away. Remember, when you are stuck, when you have to go there, and that's it. Like, that's it. You have to defend just like 20 meters. You can't be so aggressive with your ultimates on defense. So, looked really great for Lunatic High, but in the end, I'm not sure. And especially with 50 seconds left, I think that this fight will go fast enough that they can get 2 as well. Haksal uses the nano blade. It's not up to him to get a few, but really Cox here, I think, is the MVP. If you look at this 2v1, well, whether you want to blame Lunatic High, whether you want to blame Eska for missing or Cox for just really, really good movement here, because, I mean, that was some good movement from Cox. But he managed to live through it, and that really solidified this fight. There is no way that that Lunatic High could have gone through that. So, there you go. That was a pretty sick game. I thought that was one of the better games of the series. All the games are really good, by the way, and that one was particularly good. So I hope you enjoyed. And like I said, old management, sick. That tour, although I think it was good. I really liked how in the first round with Runaway defending, I said, hey, that really this is normally played with some sort of Torbjorn or Soldier really bulking it up. And then Lunatic High sort of showed off that in the next section. So I hope you guys enjoyed. This was the first daily So we had that rough spot for the people who watched it live. We had that mass hallucination that no one saw. So anyway, guys, that's just about it. Never forget to stay positive. For you guys on YouTube, for you guys on the stream, we're going to keep going. Have a great day. See you tomorrow.